Hey there, folks, and welcome to my retro media room. Today, I decided to break out some Sega Genesis games, particularly the mascot of Sega, Sonic the Hedgehog, and take a look at these. I've got a number of them here. I want to say this. I'm pretty sure this is all of them, but we'll take a look here. So, first thing you notice, I'm sure you've noticed, is this not for resale label on it. Now, I had to look this up because I knew it had to do with packing it in with the consoles, because a lot of consoles had packed in game bundles and such. Well, apparently there was an issue back in the 90s where they would have the Sega Genesis console with the game in it, and retailers would take the game out, sell them separately at full price, at full retail price, and kind of scam people. So Sega, in response to that, Sega started to put these not for sale labels on them, so that when people saw that, they were able to deal with it, return them, say, hey, this isn't, this was meant to be with the console. People that, because a lot of parents didn't necessarily know, oh, that console came with the game. So it was shenanigans that Sega had to deal with at the time, apparently. And that's what I found out when looking it up. So I'm used to seeing these from games that are packed in with consoles, but that's why. So anyhow, so you could almost say that inherently makes them somewhat collectible, but I wouldn't mind having a copy that's just a standard copy, but that's okay. So this is the first Sonic. It's funny. We're gonna notice we'll start to notice a shift in how the way this looks, right? But so the condition of this is, it's good condition. It's not like new or anything. It's a little rough. So I'm kind of keeping an eye out. To be honest, I'm keeping an eye out for maybe a better, cleaner, or a more pristine copy I could get a hold of. But for now, this is what I have. And we got the booklet. I want to say many Sega Genesis booklets are black and white in the inside, but at least the outside has color though. And whereas Super Nintendo, the majority of them are color in the inside. And we have the cartridge, which, it's got some scuffs. The sticker's intact, so that's the important thing. A little scuffed, not perfect, but like I said, this is a good copy of the game. All right, so moving on to the next one, we got Sonic 2, and this has the same thing, not for resale. Now this one's this is a pretty nice copy here. This copy I'm perfectly happy with as it is. So and now this is one thing I love about Sega. I really do love their shell cases, because even as a kid, unfortunately as a child, when I had Super Nintendo games, I would rip up and throw away, all the way up through the 64. I would throw away the boxes because I treated them like I did my action figures, like they were, it was trash, not realizing they were not meant to be thrown away. They were meant. So, yeah, I shed a tear every time I think about, and I cringe every time I think about how that used to be. But now in the case of Sega, because they were plastic shells, I treated them as, I never thought about throwing them away. So, and this is just child's mind, the way a child's mind works. So take a look at the inside here. This is a good example of a very nice, pretty pristine Sega Genesis game. The tab's still on here. It's not beat up. So on, and even in the inside. Now, funny enough, the booklet I have in this is pretty rough. I don't know. I for all I know, this copy, this wasn't the booklet that came with the copy. Who knows? There's a million different reasons why it could be. But so if I actually am in the market to get a better condition booklet to kind of put it and swap out with this, to be honest with you. But because the cartridge, while not perfect, is overall it's like an 8.5 or 9 out of 10, made in Taiwan. That's interesting. But at least, the thing that matters to me is that this not for sale sticker. That's one thing. That is one little thing that I always worry about, scratching up the cartridge, and I put these in and out. But that it matches with this. So that matters to me. I don't think the booklet. I wonder if the booklet is the same way. Probably not, but no, it's just the cartridge in the case. So moving on to the next one, we got Sonic 3. Now, Sonic 3, even though Sonic 2 is great, Sonic 1's a classic, I think I used to prefer Sonic 3. I'm probably not alone in that, but maybe Sonic 2 for a lot of people, but I really like Sonic 3. which you know, and it's funny. The co-op was interesting in Sonic games because you could play Tails in the background, like literally, like it was not like a full co-op split screen experience for for a good amount of time. It would eventually, I think, it would eventually become that, but for a while, it was just you could just kind of control Tails off screen and on screen, you know, depending on where you were. But this is also a nice copy. And this is actually the first one so far that is not for resale version. This is just a standard retail copy. This booklet is much more pristine, very clean. Some dust on there. Yeah, that is a very nice booklet. This is more like what I would like to get for 2. I would like to get a very I'd like to get a cleaner booklet. Now, here's the funny thing about Sega games that always bothered me. Because I love Sega, I love Sega, but there were quality control. There was just general quality issues in comparison to Nintendo. Even though I really do appreciate Sega, but like say like the sticker here, right? There's not like this cartridge is very nice, nothing wrong with it, but there was an inherent issue that would happen with the cart stickers, the cartridge, the artwork stickers, where see how it kind of looks faded and weird. There's nothing wrong with it in terms of physically, but it's somewhat transparent to the black on the other side because the quality of these you know, stickers are just not very good. So no matter what you do, they're going to look bad sometimes because they just didn't use very good quality material of these supposed to be solid glossy stickers that on Super Nintendo cartridges were almost always of high quality. They just had better quality control at Nintendo. But yeah, so but still though, I have a lot of love for Sega Genesis. So moving on to the next one. This is an interesting one. So this is Sonic and Knuckles, which I remember thinking how cool, you know, Knuckles was and so with Sonic and all that in the artwork. And now this is a little different. So this is a little different. Well, so I'm just going to, for this is a protective case, but this slides out. I'm just going to leave that in there. It's just the outside. It's basically a slip case. So this was a add-on basically to, which if I remember correctly, you could put Sonic 2, you could lock in with Sonic 3, lock in with Sonic 2, play as Knuckles with all his signature moves. This is actually really fascinating. Lock on with Sonic 3, and you know, you could literally go and add on to 2 and 3 and change and add content to them with this additional cartridge. So actually very innovative, very cool. Like really, I mean, that's actually awesome. They should have done more stuff like this. This is actually assembled in the USA from Sega. But I don't think I've ever actually used this. I'm assuming digitally that all this is available in content with the digital versions of the games. But this very interesting though. Got the black and white booklet in there. Thankfully, I've got now these cardboard. Now it's funny because this case is clearly cardboard, right? So not every single Sega Genesis game had. They actually went through some iterations of their own that were non-plastic shells, and this is one of them. But yeah, very, very interesting, very innovative at the time. So I really have a lot of praise for that. Very cool. Now, a personal favorite of mine that I played quite a bit with my brother as a kid was Sonic Pinball. So yeah, Sonic Pinball is a pretty. It's a fun and interesting game. You would think it's just gimmicky, not a big deal, but the music, I mean, I never cared about any pinball game probably ever to this day, but this is the one that I did kind of latch on to, oddly enough. I want to say this came with I remember this came with my Genesis. I got it the same. Yeah, this came with mine, which is funny because it doesn't have the not for resale on it, but it did come with mine. See, it's same thing, same issue. The cartridge, nothing wrong with it. But the sticker has got that transparency, so it looks like weird, like reverse faded in a way, or it's darkly faded because it's transparent to the black plastic behind it, and it doesn't look full and vibrant, right? Decent booklet. Yeah, I've always liked the shell cases from Sega Genesis. It really helps maintain quality. Now, finally, to end off here, we have Sonic 3D Blast. So there's a couple different versions of this. I want to say there was a Sega CD version, which I don't have a Sega CD, and I only have one Sega CD game. Just to have it because I try to get at least one of every console, a game from every console, just to have as a collectible, with the intention to eventually get said console. But you know, that'll be so. The same thing here, an outside slipcase to the inner box here. This inner box is in better condition because the cartridge is not able to go anywhere. So this is very crisp. I'm trying to gently take it out here. But yeah. Now, unfortunately, I don't have a booklet in this. I'll actually have to look into that. The cartridge here is very clean. The sticker here is actually a better example of the sticker not being transparent. So you can actually, even though it is not perfectly sticking down, it's bubbling up, right? So more of the quality control. Sega cartridges were a lot lighter than Super Nintendo, even though, yeah, they're more compact, but they're all 16-bit, but yet they're sleek, but they are very light and pretty flimsy, and the stickers weren't as good quality. So as much as I love Sega, I just can't say, it's just true that the quality was not the same, I think the Sega Genesis in some cases were cheaper too. So, you know, fair enough. All right, well that was some Sonic for you on the Sega Genesis, at least all the ones I have. So tell me what you think. If you want to see more Sega Genesis games, definitely let me know in the comments, because I have a, you know, it's not my biggest collection, but I've got quite a few Sega Genesis games. All right, I'll see you next time. Have a good day.